Okay, then I think I will start. I hope that you can hear me and that you can see the presentation. Welcome, everyone that is connected to this meeting, this information meeting about Lighthouse Trainee Program. My name is Louise Varenius, and I work as a coordinator at Lighthouse. And I will tell you more about what Lighthouse is in just a few moments. But as you heard, or I think you heard, this meeting will be recorded so that you're aware of that. We have an agenda today that looks like this. So first I will present to you what Lighthouse is and what the trainee program is. So basically the setup of the program, the idea behind it, and also what you should think about when applying. And then we will have some presentations from a few of the participating companies. And then we will also have the opportunity to hear about the experiences from a former trainee that has gone through the program. And then I will also tell you about the application process. And then in the end, there will also be time for questions and answers. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to write them in the chat and I will try to keep track of that. So first of all, what is Lighthouse? Lighthouse is a national collaboration platform for research, development, and innovation for the maritime sector. And as you can see in this picture, we have a number of partners, and these involve a number of universities in Sweden that conducts research and also offers education connected to the maritime field. We also have the public sector with us through the region of Västra Götaland and also the Swedish Maritime Administration. We have a foundation that supports seafarers in different ways called the Swedish Mercantile Marine Foundation. We also have the Swedish Shipowners Association with us and also 4 different research institutes. And in addition to that, we also have a number of shipping companies that are represented either in our program committee and also on our board. And you can see that Lighthouse acts as a neutral node within the Swedish maritime community and works with spreading results of maritime research through seminars and our other communication channels. And since the spring of 2019, we're also the program office of an industry program called Sustainable Shipping, which is funded by the Swedish Transport Administration. And during this year, 2020, we have also been coordinating the work of coming up with an agenda for research and innovation, a national agenda for shipping, which is about to be finalized. And we do many other things as well, which we have tried to illustrate in this picture. And one of those things is the trainee program. So what is then the trainee program? It is a unique operation between companies and organizations within the maritime sector in Sweden. And it aims to giving recently graduated master students the chance to gain experience from the maritime industry. And you can say that it gives a really clear start on your careers, and it gives the opportunity to expand your professional network. And at the same time, it gives, of course, the companies the chance to build on their competence. And the program runs during approximately 1 year. And the next period will be September 2021 to September 2022. And as you can see in this list, we have had over the years different kinds of organizations that has participated. And in some cases, there has been trainees that have gone abroad during some time during the program. But now this depends, of course, on the development of the pandemic. So these are the companies that have confirmed participation for the upcoming period. And I will tell you a bit more about them. We have Alfa Laval, which is a world leader in areas such as heat transfer, separation, and flow management, sorry. And then we have Flotel, which offer offshore flotels for extreme conditions. And they have their headquarters in Bermuda, but also a subsidiary in Gothenburg. We also have Kongsberg Maritime and MacGregor, But since they are here today to give presentations, I will let them introduce themselves a bit later on. We have one company that is a new partner in the program for this year, which is Berg Propulsion. And they are based in, or headquartered in the northern archipelago of Gothenburg. And they are one of the world's leading hydrodynamic and propulsion manufacturers. And we have SSPA, which offers consulting services and provides solutions for different needs arising within the maritime field. We have Stena Teknik, which is a common resource for all maritime-related business within the Stena sphere. And then we also have Wallenius Marine that are here with us here today. So I will also let you introduce yourself a bit later on. And then here you see two examples of how the trainee program can be structured. And as you can see, it's about 13 months in total with a break during the summer. Are there any questions so far? I'll take a look in the chat. No. If you want, you can also ask the questions out loud. That is completely fine. But if there's no question at the moment, I will proceed. And these are the qualifications that we would like, or that we wish that the future trainees have. So of course, a strong interest in shipping and seeing a future within the Swedish maritime sector is key. And then also having relevant education for the program, which I think you all here have today. And then, sufficient knowledge in Swedish to be able to participate in social contexts. And then also excellent knowledge of English, both in speech and writing. And yeah, there's also a number of desired qualifications, such as international experience, perhaps an additional language, or experience from extracurricular activities, such as student associations and sports, for example. So why should you apply? Well, it gives, as I said before, a good way of gaining experience from different actors within the maritime field in Sweden. It gives you the opportunity to create a professional network within the field. And many former trainees now work at companies where they have been trainees in the past. And there's also a market-based salary. For the upcoming period, it will be 33,000 Swedish crowns. And yes, now I would like to move further on our agenda, and we have reached the agenda point that is involving presentations from the participating companies. So I was thinking to thereby hand over to you, Göran Grunditz from Kongsberg Maritime, who will tell you about Kongsberg and also what a future trainee would be tasked with there.
Thank you, Louise. As said, my name is Göran Grunditz, and I'm representing Kongsberg Maritime Sweden AB, working in Kristinehamn. I have my background from the naval architecture education in Stockholm 20 years back, and has since been working with propeller design and ship propulsion in Kristinehamn, basically in our hydrodynamic research facility, which I'm leading since about 10 years back. We have been during the years owned by Rolls-Royce, and 1.5 years back we were acquired by Kongsberg Maritime, or Kongsberg as a group, but we are part of Kongsberg Maritime today. So I'll give you an introduction to Kongsberg and Kongsberg Maritime, but also the company in Kristinehamn and the hydrodynamic department that I is representing, where it's most likely that the trainee will end up in. So with that, you can go forward, Louise. Kongsberg has become a rather big company with almost 11,000 employees across 40 countries, and about 24 billion in revenue. It's not 24,000 billion, it's a misprint there. but 24 billion in revenues across 3 business areas that we will see on the next slide. And those 3 business areas is, as you have understood, Kongsberg Maritime, which I'm representing then, but also Kongsberg Digital and Kongsberg Defense and Aerospace. Kongsberg Maritime is the largest one, so if we go forward there. We have equipment on more than 30,000 vessels across the globe, and 16 of these 24 billions comes from the maritime business, where you also find 7,000 of the employees. So it's a pretty large part of Kongsberg and a pretty large company with a long history and a long experience. So if we go forward that, you will see that Kongsberg Maritime is basically dividing into 5 different areas. It's the integrated solutions, where we are looking at basically vessel systems and autonomous vessels and stuff like that. We have the sensor and robotics department, deck machinery and motion control, and propulsion and engine, which I'm representing. And then the 5th leg is the global customer support, which is basically the aftermarket services, where we find spare parts, upgrading projects, field service engineers, and so on. On the next slide, we will see that we are basically operating across the ocean space, and you will find Kongsberg today in pretty much all areas that is related to the oceans. And that has also been a strategic backbone for the acquisition of Kongsberg Commercial Marine that I was part of before. We are with the propulsion unit that I'm representing pretty much complement the former Kongsberg company pretty well. So we are a really big player, and if you move forward there, Louise, you will see that the main strategy behind this is that to maximize performance by really providing the full picture. So basically provide each and every system you can find on board a ship today. So if we move forward to become a bit more local to the company in Kristinehamn, then you can find us at 2 different sites, Gustavsvik and Höje. At Gustavsvik, we have the main site where we have all the engineers, and we have installation of controllable pitch propellers. And at the Höje site, we have our hydrodynamic research center. And the next slide, we will see the main products that we are responsible for, and that of course is the main product is the Camiva controllable pitch propeller. That's really the backbone of the business. But we are also supplying different types of fixed pitch propellers, monoblocks and built-up propellers of different types. We have extended the propeller business to include rudders today, and we have our Promas system. That is a system where we integrate rudder and propeller into a more efficient propulsion system. We have the Vortigates since the 80s sometimes for high-speed vessels, and we have also our new Elegance pod, which is an electrical thruster where you have the electrical motor installed directly on the propeller shaft in the outboard unit. And if you move forward one more there, we are working in basically with all different kind of vessel, and this is more of on the advanced side, which is a pretty important segment for us to deliver propellers to the world's most advanced naval vessels. And For projects like this one, which has really high requirements on efficiency for sure, but also cavitation inception speed and underwater radiated noise and efficiency. We learned quite a lot that we can bring forward to more commercial projects that you will see on the next slide, where we learned so much from the naval business that we are becoming really strong on the performance side, also for commercial projects, for research and exploration type of vessels like this one, which could be fairly complicated vessels with strict requirements also. But the performance of the propellers is really our core competitive advantage, and that comes pretty much from our hydrodynamic research facility that we will see on the next slide. We are unique as a supplier of propulsion equipment to have our own test facility, and have had so for many years. And the real strength today is that we are able to combine the experimental testing with the numerical simulation and the development of numerical simulations. So that gives us an advantage, which is really important for us, because we are pretty much an engineering company today. And if we at the next slide look at what we do on a day-to-day business, you can bring forward a complete slide here, Louise. Our main task in the order business is basically to do propeller and waterjet designs for the orders that we take. Each and every unique vessel has a unique propeller design, and that is developed and created by the hydrodynamic department, of course. And to do that, you need analysis methods. You need to be able to predict the performance of your design. You need to compare different alternatives and so on. And then you have numerical simulation or CFD as one tool, but you also have model testing as another tool. And the whole business is still pretty dependent on model scale testing. We also have full-scale capabilities to support that. We also do pretty much sales and customer support, presenting as aerodynamics to customers, supporting our sales engineer. We do products and methods development, and also have a close cooperation with Chalmers for more long-term strategic hydrodynamic research. And on the next slide, you will see in the facility we have two different cavitation tools. The facility was built in 1970, and one of the tunnels is a free surface cavitation tunnel where we can test waterjet units and propellers behind the ship hull. And we have a pretty unique test method for waterjet units that is world unique, I would say, and that has been really important for the development of our waterjets. And on the next slide, you will see a short high-speed video from our propeller in the tunnel, where you see cavitation being built up on the propeller. And cavitation, I'm sure you know what it is really what makes my job and our work in the hydrodynamic research department exciting, because we can't get rid of the cavitation. We need to live with it, and we need to control the amount of cavitation and the behavior. And as long as we can't predict all the details of what you see here and all the nuisances you get from the cavitation, the underwater noise, the risk of having erosion on your propeller blades, we will in one way or another need model scale techniques. So that is also driving the development of numerical simulations. And on the next slide, you will see an example of numerical simulations for our new Elegance pods. This is one example of how we can utilize these simulation techniques to look at the performance of a complete vessel, and also look at steering of a vessel, resistance, power predictions, etc. And we are working quite intensively to develop these methods and also bring them into the design phase and the time you have available when you should do a design. And that was a fairly quick introduction to Kongsberg and the hydrodynamic facility. And I should say also, as a trainee, it's most likely that you end up in the hydrodynamic research center, and we have had two trainees previously, and it's basically up to yourself what you're interested in. But you have seen we have methods development, like software development. We have development of simulation techniques and those kind of studies. We also have the experimental techniques. So there is good chances of finding something that you are really interested in, and that brings also a lot of value to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Göran. I was wondering if there's anyone who wants to ask any questions at this point. Otherwise, we will.
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I would like to ask you, in your presentation, there was a part where you said that Kongsberg also works with offshore structures. What do you provide a service for these structures, like transportation, or are you included in the actual building of the structure?
I can say we are involved in the building of offshore structures, rather the systems used on board, I would say.
Thank you.
Any more questions there?
And I think we should move further on with the next presentation, which will be held by Jonas Nordström at MacGregor. And I would just very quickly change presentation here.
Okay, you can hear me all, Louise, or?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
I hope.
Yeah, the presentation as well.
Yes.
Great.
Sorry, I will just turn it to presentation mode.
Sure. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Jonas Nordström. I work in a company called MacGregor, and we will dig a little bit deeper into what we do. But first, a little bit my background. I studied in Chalmers University, took a Master of Science in Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, and graduated 1995. And I joined actually DNV on a trainee program for 2 years. And then in 1998, I changed to MacGregor in Gothenburg in the Ro-Ro division at that time. I have spent most of my time within engineering, different positions, designer, project leader, and then in management positions. But I've also tried sales, and we had a conversion business I was heading for 4 years also. But since 2013, I'm the director of engineering for what we call CAS, Cargo Access Solutions business line. Next slide, please. A little agenda. We are new MacGregor. I will come back why we call it new MacGregor. A little bit what we are doing in our business line, the Cargo Access Solutions. Then as a trainee, what you do at our place. And in the end, if there is any questions and answers, I will be helpful to help out. Next slide, please. MacGregor is part, or we are owned by a company called Cargotec. Cargotec have 3 strategic business units. MacGregor is one, taking care of cargo handling at sea. And then you have Kalmar in port. It's ship-to-shore cranes, straddle carriers, container handling, etc., etc. And on the road you have Hiab, which makes small cranes, and the back of lorries you also have cargo flaps so you can move cargo in and out from the truck and trailers. We are about 12,000 employees in 100 different countries, and our revenue or sales is 3.7 billion euros last year. Next slide, please. In MacGregor, we are from those 12,000, we are around 2,300, a little bit more. And we are, I think, the most international of the companies in Cargotec. We are situated in 65 countries all over the world. And on every second ship in the world, there is some sort of equipment from MacGregor, which I will tell a little bit about more. And our motto or vision is a little bit to be the leader in intelligent cargo and load handling. Next slide. We started, and there will be another slide on this, but the first MacGregor was 2 brothers that patented the steel hatch cover in 1929. So that is actually the start and the base of everything. Before that, you actually had wood covering the cargo holds of ships, but the steel was much more secure and tight. Next slide. And we still do cargo hatches. This is one of the biggest deliveries ever made for Mediterranean Shipping Company in 2019. It's a container carrier with 23,000 TEU, so it's a big one, 400 meters. And we do on these vessels the cargo, the hatch covers, of course, but also these guides or lashing bridges that you see that secures the containers above deck. Next slide. Here is the a little bit keystones. I hope you get this presentation maybe mailed out because I will not go through everything. But the company was started in 1937. 2 brothers from Scotland that made it, and then during the years that been quite a long merger and acquisitions journey, and Cargotec acquired us 2005, or it actually was Kone, the elevator and escalator manufacturer, and then they demerged Cargotec in 2005. But why we call it New MacGregor is actually that in last year, 2019, we acquired our biggest competitor, TTS Group. So we are in the middle of a merger and integration process, and that's why we call it the New MacGregor, because now we had a 50% market share approx MacGregor, old so to speak, and TTS 20 to 30%. So in our segment, rural, we have now around 70 to 80% of market share, but probably will go down as competitors are quite fierce in the market. Next slide, please. Our idea is to serve our customers throughout the life cycle of the ship. And we start with initial design. We take, if we get an order, our customer is the shipyard in the beginning where we do the design. We do the manufacturing if we have that type of contract.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
With partners, and we do installation at the shipyard. And then in the end, when the ship is out running at sea or in service, so to speak, we do also do the maintenance and support during a vessel's lifetime, which can be somewhere between 15 and 25 years.
Right.
Next slide, please. Here is a picture of where we are, Cargotec, as said, and we are the New MacGregor in there. And MacGregor is consisting of 3 divisions: the Merchant Solution, Offshore, and Global Service Division. And
One second.
you can click, Louise, one click in. And we are part of Cargo Access Solutions business line. We are situated in Gothenburg. We have a common office since November. TTS had their own office a little bit more central. We are placed in Högsbo area in Gothenburg. Approx 130 employees in the office, but worldwide we are 200 employees in the business line. We have design offices and hubs in Poland, Croatia, Vietnam, and we also have quite big engineering capacity in China and Japan, but they are even more a mirror of our office because they also contain sales and purchase and contract management, etc. And we have, as seen there, local offices in China, Korea, and Japan, which are the main market, of course, for the majority of our equipment. The other two business lines are lifting and machinery systems, that is cranes and winches and steering gear. And the last business line is cargo storage solution. That is the hatch cover and the lashing bridges, everything that is on bulk and container carriers, you could say. We have, of course, a big offshore division doing cranes on offshore vessels, equipment for drilling rigs, etc., etc. And then we have a big global service organization taking care of the maintenance of all our equipment. Next slide, please. In our Cargo Access Solutions, we have different segments, and that is divided in you could say ship types. We are doing equipment for car carriers, normal ro-ro vessels, cruise vessels, naval vessels, and Ropax vessels. And for all these different segments, we also can do conversion, as you can see in the middle picture. That is, if a ship owner wants a new equipment or he wants to modify his stern ramp or a new trade route, we can support them with that. And if sometimes you get new requirements from national authorities or class, then we can help and rebuild the vessel. But the most reason to do conversion is actually you take away the vessel and put it into a new trade. We can look at next slide, please. Other two big segments for us is the link spans. That is the big steel constructions on land. It's kind of an interface between the vessel and the quayside. It can be, as you see, for the Molslinen catamaran, that you want to load the vessel to 2 levels at the same time. Or as you see on the picture taken from a drone, that is in a big link span in Calais, where we have a lot of tidal variations. You need then a link span as a bridge between the vessel and the quayside. And then we have also the 2 vessel pictures here are representing our self-unloader business. That is that we have equipment on vessels, bulk carriers, for instance, in the middle picture, where you can offload, the vessel can offload the cargo themselves by using machinery. This is, for instance, on unloading coal to a terminal. And the right picture shows the cement carrier, where you have big cement terminals, mainly in the Far East. And you have big vessels going around just distributing the cement powder, and then you have you have pneumatic and mechanical screws for transporting in off the cargo holds and into the seaside terminal. Next slide, please. I will take one example from the PCTC, the car carrier. PCTC stands for Pure Car and Truck Carrier. It's the cargo horse, you could say, of the sea for transporting new cars, but also high and heavy loads such as transformators, excavators, big rolling cargo that you can roll on the main deck of these vessels. We do here everything that is standard. The name is ramp cover door. That is what we do in Gothenburg. The big quarter ramp is, of course, a critical equipment to take all cargo on board. But between the decks, you have also a number of internal ramps and covers to go up and down to fill up all these decks. A typical car carrier can have somewhere 10, 12 different deck levels to fill up with different type of cargo. But other divisions or business lines is doing cranes, deck machinery, compressors, steering gear. So we have a lot of variety on our equipment on vessels, not only the cargo access to roll in and roll out the cargo. We also have a lot of the deck machinery and other stuff. And the VDR, the voyage data recorder, that is a piece that has grown quite recently and recent years, because everything tends to be digitalized and connected. So the VDR is like a connection between the vessel and cloud-based solutions, which we also can, of course, supply. Next slide, please. So what do a trainee do when he or she comes to our office? Well, one of the quickest way and the best way, I would say, to start is to actually do calculation on the RoRo products you saw on the last slide. It's something you can apply as a student, and I started out as a strength calculation engineer when I started in MacGregor, so you can contribute and come quite quickly into the work. Actually, we use many different type of tools, but the FEM tool we use is ANSYS to do global and of course local calculations, but we use a variety of Excel sheets, hand calculations, beam programs, etc. But it's quite a big part of our engineering department to do these calculations. You do also supporting in the mechanical design, doing basically drawings and models. Of course, we use 3D software. Our software is from Autodesk, it's Inventor, but it always transforms into a 2D drawing. So we try to put some of these works to get a feeling what we do. And as said, also a lot of standard work. We want to standardize our designs to be cost effective, and then there is a lot of creating but also maintaining our standard. Will also be involved in our orders to support to clearing out comments that we get from classification societies or yards. So that could be updating drawings or answering on questions from class comments on the calculation reports, for instance. And there will also be potential for a visit during an installation on a shipyard or a port facility during the trainee period. I think we have aimed to do that every time, but as the circumstances now are a little bit dodgy with the COVID-19, I cannot guarantee that, but that's something that both we and the trainee see as a very valuable period. Normally it's like 1 or maybe 2 weeks out at the shipyard during 1 hour installations. Next slide. Well, that was all. So if you have any questions, I will try to answer them.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
How long is your traineeship?
I think it's 3 months or 4 months, Louise.
Yes, exactly. It depends on how many trainees we have. Our mission is to have two trainees. So then it's 3 or 4 months at each company.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you for having me and letting me do the presentation.
Thank you. Then I will just make my way back to the other presentation. Which I hope you see now. So our last presentation will be by Emil Kotz from Wallenius Marine. And Emil has sort of a dual role here today because he will tell you about where he works, Wallenius Marine, of course, and then he will also tell you a bit about his experiences as a trainee. So Emil, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Louise. Well, as mentioned, my name is Emil Kotz. I'm a former trainee, and today I work as a naval architect at Wallenius Marine. You can skip slide. And I will just give you a short introduction to the company itself and my experience. So it started in 1934 here in Stockholm. It's a family-owned company, and we offer services within ship management and also ship design and new building consultancy. And today we have over 1,000 employees, most of which are out sailing on the vessels. And since the mid-90s, we have designed and delivered about 60 vessels. And today we are managing 25 vessels. And next slide, please. So we are mainly involved within the segment of PCTC and RoRo. And the main type of cargo is could be cars, trucks, trailers, and even mining equipment. It's basically everything that's rolling off and rolling on. Next slide. And within the ship design and new building department, which I work at, we can assist the shipping company throughout the whole new building process. So starting out with a feasibility study, concept design, outline specification, and then assist with the contact and contracts to the yards, but also site supervision all the way until a delivery. Next, please. And for the ship management side, it's basically what happens after the delivery. And there we can assist with crewing, purchasing, insurance, IT systems. And we have technical management in forms of dry docking, maintenance, repairs, and upgrades. Next. And right now we have 3 ongoing new building projects in China. This is a RoRo vessel built for Wallenius Sol. It's LNG powered, and we aim to deliver 2 vessels next year. And next. And we also have a new building project for Wallenius Wilhelmsen Ocean. It's a total of 4 vessels, quite large PCTC with a capacity of 8,000 cars. And we expect it to be delivered next year as well. And lastly, we have a smaller project for UCC, 3,600 units, LNG powered with a battery hybrid installment. And on the R&D side, we are having a project called EPCC project. It's a wind powered car project together with, or in collaboration with the KTH, SSPA, and it's partly funded by the Swedish Transport Agency. And on the commercial side, we've named it Ocean Bird. This is a project where I work quite intense with. I'm involved with the hydrostatic calculations, strength assessments, and part of the wing design. And last slide here. In 2018, I started out as a trainee here at Wallenius, and my main task here was to establish a model for predicting a vessel's weight and center of gravity. I got the opportunity to go on board a vessel and sail for a whole week, and I also had a time abroad in China, 3 weeks in total, where I participated in an inclining test. And at Alfa Laval, I was working with an LCC, life cycle cost analysis, for the whole product range. So it was quite intense for 4 months, but I got more or less familiarized with the whole portfolio, which was a great experience to have. And I ended my trainee at Kongsberg. where I was programming a platform to visualize trends and patterns within large amount of data. So we looked at how the operating profile for vessels were and if there were any room for improvement of the efficiency. And I would like to say that both Alfa Laval and Kongsberg, they are really close to their research. Alfa Laval has test facilities down in the basement where they try out new separators, and at Kongsberg you get a really good experience with the cavitation tunnel. And finally, why would you apply? Well, I think it's a really good and a unique opportunity. I haven't heard of any other trainee program where you get the chance to work at 3 different companies. You get a really good insight into the industry, and you establish a really good network of connections. And you also get the opportunity to see what you would like to continue working with. So I'd say it's a really good start to your career, and I would encourage all of you to apply for the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's just for information. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you all 3 of you for your presentations. And I hope that everyone in this meeting is now wondering, how can I apply to this program? So the application will be open between 15th of December and 31st of January. And the interviews will be approximately in the beginning of February. So if you see this as an interesting opportunity, which I hope you do, I invite you to send a CV, cover letter, grades, and expected graduation date to this address that you see, info@lighthouse.nu. And there's also more information about the program on our website, lighthouse.nu/trainee. And you can always contact me if you have any other questions that you would like to ask. And there's also time now for questions. So please feel free to ask questions if there are any.
Louise, could you go back 1 slide maybe?
Yes, sure. And we will also publish this presentation on the website. So if you want to look at it again, you can do that as well.
I was not here in the first 5 minutes of the presentation.
Okay.
What do you mean with the Swedish language skills? Yeah, I'm started to learn it. It's easier to read a technical report, but it's more difficult for me to have a social talk about some daily topics. What do you expect to know in Swedish language?
Well, we say that it's essential to have a certain knowledge level in Swedish just to be able to participate in social contexts. But I think you should apply anyways, and because it's some time before the program starts, so I think you should give it a chance.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Louis?
Yes.
Yeah. I have graduated in June, so I don't know if I should wait until next year, or is it possible to apply before, since I have finished my master's in June.
Okay. Yes, we, in a general thing that we have said is that it's okay to have graduated the year before the program starts. So yes, it's possible to have 1 year after graduating.
Okay. But I mean, if I apply for now, is it possible to start before, or I should wait till September?
Yes, the next program period will be starting September.
Okay.
So there is no other period before that.
Okay. Yeah.
I have one question with regards to the whole application process, and then when you do your traineeship, how big are the chances of ending up at a company, and is that company up to your own choice, or is that the choice of a company that feels to employ you, let's say?
Well, first I can mention that in the application you are free to express if there's any company that you're specifically interested in, and also if you're called to an interview, you can express that then there as well. But we have a steering committee which consists of all the participating companies, and in the end, it's that committee that decides who gets to go to exactly which company. And then it all depends on the companies, basically. Maybe some of the companies want to answer that question. I'm not sure. But there is a general rule that no company can offer the trainee a job before 2 months is, how do you say that? 2 months before it ends. So you can't begin in September at one company and be offered a job there and then stay there, because it has to be attractive for all the companies to be in the program, also if you're in the end of the program. I hope that was clear there.
Yeah. Thank you.
I also have one question.
Yes.
How many trainees are you planning to take, like, next year?
Our ambition is to have 2 trainees, and I think at least 2 trainees, yes.
Okay.
Are there any more questions? So you can just fire away. Or if there is anyone that has a question that you would like to send in text, you can send it to this address. Otherwise, I think we're reaching the end of this meeting. And I would like to thank everyone who participated. And thank you also, Göran, Jonas, and Emil for the presentations. And I wish you a nice afternoon. Thank you.
Okay.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Bye-bye.